Hello, it's midnight and you're watching Nightline with me, Anita. The top stories. Malaysia to continue supporting Palestine despite bomb threat. Over 788 million ringgit in early schooling aid allocated in 2024 budget. Our headlining story. Malaysia will continue supporting Palestine despite the bomb threat at a shopping mall in Johor Bahru on Saturday. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri RM788 urged the public not to be worried as the government is always on the alert for any threat. Zahid said the police have stated that the act was a deliberate threat, adding that Malaysians just need to be vigilant. He said there is no need to be afraid of anything, including threats against the country's support of Palestine. In fact, the Deputy Prime Minister said the government will continue to provide financial aid to Palestine. Zahid on Saturday said Malaysia aims to donate some 100 million ringgit to the people of Palestine who are facing a military assault by Israel. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, in tabling the 2024 budget on Friday, said a 10 million ringgit humanitarian aid will be launched to support Palestinians and urged companies and members of the public to donate funds. The well-known mall in Johor Bahru was evacuated on Saturday after a bomb threat was phoned in by an unidentified caller to the mall's management at about 6 p.m. Johor Bahru Selatan District Police Chief Raub Slamat was quoted as saying that the caller, claiming to be someone from overseas, warned against showing support for Palestine. Over 788 million ringgit in early schooling aid, or BAP, has been allocated in the 2024 budget compared to 450 million ringgit last year. The 2024 federal expenditure estimates issued by the Finance Ministry for the Education Ministry shows that a total of 788.1 million ringgit has been allocated for 2024. The statement addresses the concerns voiced by parents who were reported to be disappointed when the matter was not mentioned in the budget tabling last Friday. Furthermore, the allocation for the Supplementary Food Programme, or RMT, has also been increased to 784 million ringgit compared to 625 million ringgit last year, while allowances for special needs students have been given a 199 million ringgit allocation compared to 181 million ringgit in the previous year. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, when tabling the 2024 budget in the Dewan Rakyat on Friday, said education remains the main component that receives allocations in the national budget planning, with the Education Ministry being allocated 58.7 billion ringgit. This compared with 55.2 billion ringgit allocated in 2023.
Terima kasih atas keperhatian kerajaan kepada kami sebagai ibu bapa atas bantuan persekolahan ini. Dengan pada masa ini, dengan kenaikan harga barang dan sebagainya, bantuan ini amatlah membantu kami sebagai ibu bapa yang mempunyai anak-anak yang bersekolah dalam untuk kita membeli peralatan ataupun buku ataupun membayar duit bas sekolah.
Dengan bantuan ini, ia dapat meringankan beban kami sebagai ibu bapa untuk menyediakan kelengkapan sekolah anak-anak. Dengan bantuan ini, kami dapat menyediakan kelengkapan peralatan sekolah, pakaian dan juga sebagainya.
The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, has asserted that it has nothing to do with Kuala Kangsar MP Datuk Iskandar Zulkarnain Abdul Khalid's sudden support for Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, as alleged. Its chief, Tan Sri Azam Baki, said the allegations were ill-intended and an attempt to tarnish the Commission's image.
Saya menafikan tentang semua perkara ini. Kita SPRM tidak pernah terlibatlah dengan mana-mana pihak lah untuk berkomplot untuk mana-mana ahli politik untuk menyokong yang beban menteri. Itu bukan kerja kami lah, ya.
Azam said this in response to PN Secretary-General Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin's allegations that Iskandar Zulkarnain was pressured into supporting Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim's leadership after being threatened by an unnamed senior MACC officer with corruption charges if he refused. On Friday, Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail also said he completely rejects the wild accusation. On Thursday, Iskandar Zulkarnain stated his support for the Prime Minister, saying he made the decision after studying the continuous complaints of voters in his constituency. He, however, stressed that he remains loyal to his party, Bersatu. The government will introduce new courses related to electric vehicles, EV and solar energy under the Technical Education and Vocational Training, or TVET, through an allocation of 6.8 billion ringgit, especially in Malacca. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said it was in line with the Melaka government's policies that focused on renewable energy technology with high demand from investors.
Sekarang ini kita mempunyai sebanyak 1,334 TVET di seluruh negara yang meliputi 12 kementerian. Yang penting bukan menambahkan banyaknya tetapi menjadikan kursus-kursus yang terbaru dan juga menambah baikkan infrastrukturnya dan memperbesarkan yang ada bagi pengambilan yang lebih ramai mereka yang akan mengikuti kursus-kursus bentuk baru ini.
Zahid said this after opening the Tangga Batu UMNO Division Office in Paya Rumput, Melaka on Sunday. Also present were Melaka Chief Minister Datuk Seri Abdul Rauf Yusof and UMNO Secretary General Datuk Ashraf Wajdi Dusuki. Zahid, who is also National TVET Council Chairman, said this is the latest opportunity offered to Melaka in line with the demand for human capital for renewable energy and also the need for high-tech job employment. He added investors will not only come to Melaka, but investors in other states may also have similar demand for renewable energy. And for this, TVET can be empowered in Melaka. The Defence Ministry is fine-tuning various aspects in the move to revive the National Service Training Programme, PLKN, including the number of veterans of the Malaysian Armed Forces, ATM, to be involved. Its Deputy Minister, Adli Zahari, said the Ministry was also identifying ATM veterans with the potential to be involved in the programme, thus providing them with job opportunities.
Jadi apa sahaja yang dibuat oleh kementerian atau JLC, dia mesti ada bahagian veteran Angkatan Tentera. Jadi dengan cara itu saja kita boleh menyusun kejayaan kedua atau kejayaan baru veteran kita ini dengan lebih baik dalam negara kita.
Speaking to the media during a visit to the construction site of the Al Bayan Academy complex in Kampung Pegoh on Sunday, Adli added that the ministry had always looked after the welfare of ATM veterans, with those eligible offered new jobs after they had completed their service. On Saturday, it was reported that First Deputy Finance Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Mazlan, who is also a National Veterans Council member, suggested that the implementation of the PLKN should involve ATM veterans with experience in the military field to ensure the smooth running of the programme. He said the veterans could serve as instructors or in other capacities at the PLKN camps to be held at selected military camps across the country. About 30 to 40% of doctors in the country have experienced some form of bullying before, according to a survey conducted by the Malaysian Medical Association, or MMA. The survey, involving 728 Malaysian public and private doctors, was conducted by the MMA's section concerning house officers, medical officers and specialists and junior doctor network. MMA President Dr. Azizan Abdul Aziz said the findings may be just the tip of the iceberg, as many others might be suffering in silence and are reluctant to come forward. The survey found 253 cases of bullying, with the highest reported in Sarawak, with 15, followed by Selangor, 9, and Perak, 8. However, 197 were from unknown states, while Sabah and Melaka have no confirmed cases of bullying. The survey, conducted from September 15th to October 1st, 2024, also found that victims were unlikely to file a complaint out of fear or because they did not know how to go about it. It also found that most Malaysian doctors were overworked, with junior doctors being the most affected. About 60% of junior doctors with less than 2 years' experience work overtime daily, while 20% of doctors with over 2 years' experience work overtime every day. Another 30 to 40% still work overtime at least 3 times a week. The resignation rate among Malaysian contract doctors also rose by a staggering 1,131% in the past 6 years. MMA expressed deep concern over the findings, as it stressed the issues mentioned, if left unaddressed, can have a significant impact on patient care, especially in the public healthcare sector. The Social Welfare Department, JKM, will issue a confiscation notice against a daycare centre in Kota Damansara, Selangor, following the death of a 2-month-old baby last Tuesday. Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri, in a statement, said the move takes effect beginning Monday after checks found that the premise involved was not registered with JKM. She explained that the daycare centre's failure to register with JKM is an offence under Section 6(1) of the Nursery Act. Nancy also issued a warning to all daycare centre operators that those who fail to present a certificate of registration within 21 days after receiving the notice will be compounded or face prosecution. It was previously reported that the 2-month-old baby, Kasih Aulia Faizul, died while under the care of the daycare centre in Section 6, Kota Damansara. Petaling Jaya District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Muhammad Fakhruddin Abdul Hamid said so far the statements of 3 individuals, including the victim's parents, have been recorded in relation to the investigation. Israeli tanks move near Gaza fence as ground invasion looms. News from the foreign front right after this breather. Don't go away. We're back with news on the foreign front. Israeli tanks have begun positioning themselves on the border fence with Gaza on Sunday as the military build-up continues amid relentless bombardment of the besieged Palestinian enclave. The Zionist regime said its forces were readying for the next stages of the war, including combined and coordinated strikes from the air, sea and land. Israeli forces were reportedly awaiting a political decision on the timing of a major ground offensive on the territory as civilians stepped up desperate efforts to flee northern Gaza. Meanwhile, Iran has warned that if Israel's war crimes and genocide are not stopped, then the situation could spiral out of control with far-reaching consequences. Tehran, in a post on social media, said it would have to respond if Israel carries out a ground offensive in the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip, the responsibility of which lies with the United Nations, the Security Council and the states steering the council toward a dead end. So far, 2,329 civilians have been killed in Gaza, with 300 killed in the past 24 hours, while more than 9,000 injured since the conflict broke out a week ago. In the meantime, convoys of humanitarian aid stacked up near Egypt's border with the Gaza Strip on Sunday, unable to enter the Palestinian enclave being bombarded by Israel. Witnesses said concrete blocks installed by the Egyptians to fortify the border following Israel's bombings were still in place, suggesting that no passage was being considered in the immediate future. Already, shipments of aid from Jordan, Turkey and the UAE had arrived at El Arish Airport, 50 kilometers west of Rafah, alongside medical supplies supplied by the World Health Organization to meet the needs of 300,000 people. The UN has also warned of the nightmare situation facing the 50,000 pregnant women in Gaza as the enclave's health system teeters on the brink of collapse. It said about 5,000 women are expected to give birth in the coming month, some of whom could face complications. In the meantime, a growing number of nations, global rights groups and organizations have called on Israel to respect international rules of war, urging the protection of civilians' lives by allowing aid to go through. A shallow 6.3 magnitude earthquake has rocked western Afghanistan on Sunday. Its third quake since powerful tremors killed over 2,000 people on October 7th. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the quake hit just after 8 a.m. local time, with an epicenter 33 kilometers northwest of Herat city, killing one person and injuring 100 others. It was followed by significant magnitude 5.5 aftershock 20 minutes later, but the full scope of the impact is still unclear. On October 7th, a magnitude 6.3 quake and 8 powerful aftershocks jolted the same part of Herat, toppling swaths of rural homes and killing over 2,000 people. Days later, with thousands of terrified residents left without shelter and volunteers digging for survivors, another tremor of the same intensity shook the region, causing one death and dozens of injuries. The rugged terrain of Afghanistan is prone to seismic activity due to the collision of the Indian tectonic plate with the Eurasian plate to the north, leading to earthquakes. The support rate for Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida fell to 32.3%, the lowest level since he became Prime Minister in October 2021. Japan's news agency Kyodo News on Sunday said, based on its survey, the figure declined from 39.8% in the previous poll in September and was below 33.1% in November and December last year. Meanwhile, the disapproval rating rose to a record high of 52.5% from 39.7% in September. The survey also showed that 58.6% of respondents expect the upcoming economic package, planned to be compiled by the end of this month to mitigate the pain of rising prices for everyday goods, will be ineffective. The poll also showed that 63.2% of respondents see the need for a cut in income tax to enable them to cope with inflation. Up next, Zijia smashes Ziyong to win Arctic Open crown. Sports when we return. Don't go away. Sports news now, badminton. The 2023 Arctic Open. Li Zijia ended a 15-month title drought when he came out tops in the All-Malaysian men's singles final against Ang Ziyong in Finland on Sunday. World number 14 Zijia was in imperious form as he outclassed Ziyong 21-14, 21-15 in 39 minutes. The last time Zijia tasted success was at the Thailand Open in May last year, which formed part of the back-to-back victories he attained along with the Asian Championships. The latest win means Zijia has 4 World Tour titles to his name, having also triumphed at the 2018 Taiwan Open, the 2021 All England and last year's Thailand Open. Malaysia's hope of a double joy, however, failed to materialise as national men's doubles of Chong Man Wei T Kai Wun bowed to Denmark's Kim Astrup under Skarup Rasmussen. The national duo provided a tough fight before losing the clash 18-21, 17-21. Turning to MotoGP now, the Indonesian Grand Prix. Italy's Francesco Bagnaia claimed the checkered flag from 13th on the grid on Sunday after world title rival Jorge Martin crashed with back-to-back GP wins in sight. Sprint race winner Martin, who also won in Japan last time out, had moved from 6th at the start into the lead and held an advantage of 3 seconds over fellow Spaniard Maverick Viñales when he slid off on lap 13 of the 27-lap race. Bagnaia had leapt from 13th to 3rd in the first 3 laps, and the reigning champion overhauled Viñales on lap 20. Viñales had to settle for 2nd place in the end, with former world champion Fabio Quartararo of France taking the loss of the podium places. The result means that Bagnaia took full advantage of Martin's mistake and moves back to the top of the standings. He now leads his rival by 18 points going into round 16 of the 20-race season, the Australian Grand Prix at Phillip Island. On to football now. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is close to agreeing a deal to buy 25% of Manchester United after Qatari businessman Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani withdrew from the bidding process. Sheikh Jassim's offer, which valued United at more than $6 billion, was believed to be the only bid for 100% of the club. The other proposal is to buy around 25% of the club by petrochemicals billionaire Ratcliffe, which now looks close to being agreed. The Glazers have owned Manchester United since buying it for just under $970 million in 2005, an 18-year tenure marked by protests and a conspicuous dearth of trophies since the retirement of Sir Alex Ferguson, the club's former manager, also in 2013. Still to come on Nightline, 4 night spots in KL raided. The details right after this break. See you then. Back on Nightline. A ladies' only coach was introduced on the Kajang MRT line last month. Though the pilot project has come in for praise, there are concerns that some men either do not understand the concept or prefer to ignore the rules. How did the public feel about this? FMT's Danish Raja Reza and Amira Huda have the report.
Ever found someone occupying a seat you purchased, like in a cinema or on an airplane? Annoying, isn't it? Now imagine how it must feel for women who enter a ladies-only coach only to see men. It goes beyond being annoying. The women-only coach was introduced last month in response to the increased harassment women were facing on trains. But despite the authorities making it abundantly clear that the women-only coach is only for women, some men are not getting with the program. Photos and videos of either stubborn or mischievous men straying into women-only coaches have gone viral on social media.
That's actually disturbing because couldn't they understand or respect some needs of safety for women. Yeah, they can just stare at you and you feel uncomfortable. And imagine if you have like 20 more stops, I don't know. So that's really, really uncomfortable. Yeah.
Does the problem boil down to attitudes or ignorance?
So a guy went into the women's coach. I think he did it unknowingly, but he was just told to not be in the women's coach. But I saw one yesterday and one last week.
Yes, I'm not sure. Is it that they didn't hear the announcement, or he didn't see the sticker?
Whether intentional or otherwise, men straying into the women-only coaches is still a problem that needs fixing. This is something rail operator Rapid Rail is working on.
Publicity via mass and social media, awareness campaigns, public announcement at stations, onboard trains and additional notices will be enhanced, and surveillance by the auxiliary police also be improved to provide more comfortable, convenience and much safer journey to all passengers. We always accept suggestions for improvement measures.
Now, it is important to keep in mind that the women-only coach on the Kajang MRT line is, at this point in time, still a pilot project. Transport Minister Loke Sifuk has said that if the pilot project goes well, it will be expanded to other rail lines. So how do commuters think the initiative can be better?
More women are taking public transport. Yes. Maybe they can increase one more coach extra. Sometimes the women coach is not enough for us, so they have to go to the other coaches as well.
But it's not just down to the authorities. Everyone has to do their part.
There needs to be some sort of control when there are some men inside the women's coach. And we do, as general people, we do need to be more vigilant about that. So if you see something, say something.
Danish Rajareza and Amira Huda, FMT for Nightline.
Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department, CID, has raided 4 night spots in Complex Wilayah, Jalan Dangwangi, early on Sunday, which featured striptease acts. 2 managers of the outlets and a worker, all Bangladeshis, were detained during the raid. The entertainment outlets are believed to have featured provocative dances and striptease acts for its customers, mostly Bangladesh and Pakistan nationals. The raid was conducted at 2:50 a.m. on Sunday by Bukit Aman CID Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Division, or D3, after receiving information about goings-on at the complex, which had been taking place for up to a year. Bukit Aman D3 Principal Assistant Director, Senior Assistant Commissioner Fadil Marsus said the main objective of the operation was to find out if there were victims of human trafficking there. Police inspected 71 foreign men and 8 local men who were customers, as well as 34 women who worked as guest relation officers and dancers. Aside from the operators of the outlets, customers, comprising 33 Bangladeshi men and 1 Pakistani man, were also detained under the Immigration Act. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, we take a look at a rare ring of fire solar eclipse which left observers in awe as it travelled a path covering parts of the United States, Mexico and several countries in Central and South America. With that, I'm Anita. Thank you for watching and be well, Malaysia.